Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Rarsu Amarabi. On this channel, I film content surrounding graduate school sustainability education and lifestyle from Tampa, Florida. It's been 1 year since I started my research in my PhD program, and so I decided to come on here to just share some things I've learned in the past 1 year as a PhD researcher. So let's get right into the video. So the first thing on my list is the fact that you have to have a support system in check. So this PhD journey is up and down. It's not like a smooth road. Some days you feel good. Some days you feel like complete crap. You really need a support system that you can always like tell all your problems to, and they're always there to raise your spirit up. So be it family, friends, your significant other, you really need a support system in this PhD program. You cannot do it alone. So make sure your support system is in check. The second thing, so PhD is a lot of work, right? You you have a lot of research to do, experimental simulation. So you put in a lot of work daily. So yeah, put in a lot of work into getting those research done, pushing out those papers, getting closer to your PhD degree. But always remember to take small breaks. Sometimes you're trying to figure out something, maybe in the lab or in your simulation running, and nothing is going well. You're not making headway. Sometimes all you need is actually a break, a short break, and when you come back to that problem, you realize that you can easily solve it. So whenever you meet a brick wall and you cannot get forward in your tasks, just take that short break. It can be hanging out with friends, can be just going to the beach, can be sleeping, it can be watching a movie. But make sure you take short breaks in between your long hard long hours of hard work, and yeah, you work more efficient that way. So one thing I've learned also is to celebrate my small wins. So I work hard, right? But nobody really, I can't really say nobody knows I'm working hard, because yeah, um your hard work is probably being noticed by others, your supervisors, or the people around you. But you alone know the efforts you're putting in. So when you get small wins, or when you achieve little things, make a time to celebrate it, because other people will not really celebrate you like you want to. So if you make a little breakthrough and you know that like you've been putting a lot of effort in it, ch- take out time to celebrate it. Last year I won first prize in a presentation I did, and I celebrated myself so well, because like I was so glad that like my the work I had been doing like came out to a prize. So just make sure you celebrate like little things. Even I celebrate when I celebrate little things like, oh, my equipment is working now. I take myself out to like just give myself a treat. So just make sure you celebrate these little wins. It's very important. It keeps you sane. And because like when you do something, like when you like have been putting a lot of effort into something and you like get the result, your supervisor might tell you, oh, good work, but it's just there and then they expect you to do better the next week. So if you don't take out that short time to celebrate yourself, you really feel like you're not even making any progress, like, and that would lead to making you feel like sad or depressed. So just whenever you achieve something you've been trying to achieve, or like just a prize or something, just make sure you celebrate your small wins and then continue. Okay? So take your time to do literature review. This sounds really cliche. Of course, everybody does literature review. You're doing research. How don't you do the literature review? But like most PhD researchers, or let me not say most, like most student researchers, most student researchers don't take out the proper time to do literature review, especially like when you're doing experimental, even for the people like doing purely simulations. When you get into your experimental work, it's very easy for you to get sucked into that hole of like running experiments, like on top experiments, and not taking out time to look at the literature review. So what most people do is that, oh, before they start their experiment, maybe they take out 1 week or even 1 month for literature review, and then they start their experiment. But really, that's not the way to go. Yeah, it's good to start your literature, like start out doing a literature review, then going for your experiment or for your simulations. But even when you start your experiments, when you start your simulations, you should also always do literature review. So in a week, you can take out a day to go through papers. Because like if you take out just 1 month to go through papers, trust me, you won't see everything. If apart from the ones that are going to be released like afterwards, but even the ones that has been there ever since, you're not just going to see it based on just 1 week or 1 month of doing literature review. You will not see everything. So it's meant to be a continuous process. So as you continue your research, as you continue your experiment, as you continue running your software, your programs, make sure you also continue looking at the literature, because sometimes you spend days, weeks, even months trying to figure out something in the lab, and it's something you'd have figured out if you had done your literature review properly. So um don't waste don't waste too much time in the lab for something you can find off literature. So always do your literature review. Literature review is not a one-off thing, it's a continuous thing. So talking about literature review, don't just go ahead reading papers randomly and jotting randomly, because one thing that's really painful after you've done literature review is when you realize that you need something that you've seen before in the literature, but you can't find that paper. It's usually really painful, really stressful to start looking for a particular information that you know you've seen, but you really can't remember the name of the author and all. So like there are apps you should use when you're doing your literature review, apps that should be installed on your laptop already, to just like store all of the papers that you're getting. So there's one app I use called Zotero. Other apps include EndNotes. I also use EndNotes, but actually actively I've been using Zotero. So, but they both do the same thing. They help you store your like references. If that's probably the right thing to say. It stores like, as you're doing your literature review, you could easily, because the add-ons are already on your system, if you install them, you could easily just like add whatever paper you're reading on the net into that app, and it keeps it there. And when you're writing your paper, if you need to reference it, you just need to type out the author or type out something related, maybe the title or whatever, and it cites it for you, it brings out the reference. It just makes life really easy. And like for example in Zotero, you could easily go there and like section all of your papers. So maybe you're writing 2 different papers and you don't want to mix like the papers, like the articles you're reading together. You can easily just separate them like in this app. And you can also like write notes. So maybe things that are related to the paper, or the particular thing you found from that paper, you could easily write it in a note. And so later on, when you're looking for that stuff, you can remember like, oh, where did I see so you just type it and it comes out. It makes your life easy. So don't just like do literature review randomly. Make sure you're storing them properly using apps like Zotero and EndNote. Okay. So this, I don't know if I'll say I learned it, but it's something that every prospective PhD student should know. So the school you're going to end up in for your PhD program is very important, but the supervisor you end up with is ultimate. So like when you're doing your research for schools, also do research for your prospective supervisor. Try to ask the students that are already in that group, like students in the school, because like it's very important. You're going to be with your supervisor for the entire duration of your program, whether it's 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. You're going to be with them, and so you have to have a very good relationship with that supervisor to enable your time spent in your PhD program to be smooth. I consider myself very lucky because honestly, I did not like ask about like my supervisors. I knew I wanted to be with them because I have two major supervisors. I knew I wanted to be with them based on like the research. I find myself very lucky because they're really very good supervisors. But like conversing with other PhD students, even off Twitter, can see like some students are stuck with toxic supervisors. People are dropping out just because of the kind of supervisors they have. So this is something you really need to check before jumping into a PhD program. So just make sure you ask questions, and even like if possible talk directly to your prospective supervisor, and like just ask like setting expectations they have of you before you actually join the group. So yeah, this one um is I've been guilty of it. So sometimes you wake up in the night and you just check your phone, or not even just waking up in the night, maybe you're about to sleep and you check your phone and you see an email from your supervisor and you're like, oh my goodness, is he not sleeping? Why is he sending me an email? Do I have to reply? So yeah, I've been in that situation where I felt obligated to reply at night, and I'm like, oh, why is he sending me email at night? But the truth is that you're not obligated to respond to an email at the middle of the night, and do not even feel like bugged with your professor or your supervisor sending you an email at night. It's just probably like he just has, or he or she just found time at whatever to send you an email. They don't expect you to reply immediately. If you do reply, good, but it's not like they're sending you an email at 12 a.m. and expect you to respond immediately. So don't feel pressured, because I found myself feeling pressured to respond, because I'm like, oh, if he's sending an email now, he needs me to respond. But no, probably just woke up, or like he probably just found time to send emails, or to do his work at that period. Maybe he or she puts their children to sleep, and that's the time they had to like send out work emails. They don't expect you at the under end to be awake and reply them. So you can always wait till morning to respond. If you're awake and working at that time also, then you can respond. But don't feel pressured. Don't feel that, oh, because they sent you an email at this time, you need to reply or respond at this time. You can always wait till morning to respond to emails. Yeah, I know I've been guilty of that. I've been pressurized to respond to emails, and I've seen like tweets saying that to like, oh, yo, my supervisor is sending me an email at this time. Like, why are they sending me email at this time? No, you're not. They don't expect you to. They just sent it because that's when they're sending their work emails. Okay, so don't feel pressurized. You can always wait till morning to respond to your supervisor's email. Set reminders. Like, there's so many things to be done, and you cannot keep everything in your head. Trust me, you will forget. You feel like an old person that is now forgetting things, but you will forget because you cannot keep everything in your head. So set reminders. Set reminders on Google Calendar, Outlook Calendar, Siri, Alexa. Set reminders everywhere, because you have a lot of tasks to deliver in your research, but you also have other obligations like your TA job, you have applications to do, you have personal stuff to do. If you don't keep like proper reminders, everything just becomes scattered and you don't know what to do. Trust me, last year I missed a deadline and I'm like, yo, why did I miss this deadline? Like, I did not even realize that there was a deadline coming up because I was keeping up everything in my head and I'm like, yo, this is this time. I thought it was like end of December, but it was 1st of December and I missed it. It was an application for a fellowship and that was how I missed it. And I'm like, yo. And apart from that, like I forgot to like apply for a conference. And I'm like, when did the deadline pass? Like, how did I forget? So, although like I went for some conferences, I applied for some fellowship, but I missed some because I didn't put them properly in calendars. So in this situation, you always have to put things in calendars because you're working every day in, day out, week in, week out. There's always tasks to be done. So if you don't put in proper reminders for like things you need to meet up, applications you need to submit, you will forget everything. So set reminders officially on Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar, whichever you use, but also set on Siri. Tell Siri to remind you, tell Alexa to remind you if you have them. Okay. So, but in this PhD world I'm in right now, I have decided to enjoy the experience. I am trying to get a PhD degree, right? I'm going to get it. I'm trying to get a PhD degree and I'll get it by the grace of God. But during that process, I plan on just enjoying my experience as much as I can. There are down times, there are up times, but I consciously, when I'm in that down mood, I consciously try to bring myself up and I take breaks. I go back to my work. When I get progress in my work, it makes me happy. When I'm not getting headway, like I said, take breaks and just go enjoy myself. When I win, I celebrate my wins. So I'm just trying to enjoy the process and the journey to getting that PhD. And I think you should too if you're in this process. Try to enjoy the experience. Don't just be stuck up on like the one degree you get at the end of the day. We'll all get it by the grace of God. Yeah. But enjoy the process while you're trying to get that PhD. So this is the end of the video. This is what I've learned in my 1 year as a PhD researcher. If you're a PhD student researcher, please can you leave in the comment section things you've learned so that I can learn too. If you're a prospective PhD student, please take the advice that I've given in this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave it down in the comment section. If you're not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Click on the red subscribe button, hit the like button, share, comment, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.